$500 billion or something. It's crazy, the numbers are crazy. But it's worthless if the president doesn't sign, then it's worthless. If the president does sign, it's worth maybe $1 trillion. So I think, like a joint venture, I think we would have a joint venture with the people from TikTok. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's one of many ideas.
The CEO from town, and he said he's open to that idea. The CEO, too. Around.
Oh, I think you probably like it. Because he's got nothing. They really have nothing. It's passed in Congress. It gives the president the right to make a deal or to close it. And we have 90 days to make that decision. But I could see making a deal where the U.S. gets 50% of TikTok, polices it a little bit or a lot, depends on them. But remember, they make telephones in China, they make all sorts of things in China. Nobody ever complains about that. Here they're complaining about this. There's so many different products made in China and nobody ever complained about it. The only one they complain about is TikTok. And TikTok is largely young people. I guess I have a warm spot for TikTok that I didn't have originally. But you know, I went on TikTok and I won young people by 36%, Peter. And Republicans typically don't do too well with young people. But it's a different Republican Party.
Would you do a survey of TikTok then, or how would it get that 50%?
No, you take 50% of TikTok for the approval that TikTok can continue in business. And they'd have a great partner. The U.S. would be their partner. But the U.S. essentially would be paid for doing that half of the value of TikTok.
Would it be a private sector owner as
Could
well?
be, yeah, could be a lot. Tell you what, every rich person has called me about TikTok.
You wanted to log TikTok, why did you take the money?
Because I got to use it. And remember, TikTok is largely about kids, young kids. If China's going to get information about young kids, I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I think we have bigger problems than that. But you know, when you take a look at telephones that are made in China and all the other things that are made in China, military equipment made in China, TikTok, I think TikTok is not their biggest problem. But there's big value in TikTok if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, there's no value. So if we create that value, why aren't we entitled to like half?
Sir, can you do, can we do that meeting we shut them down?
Does Biden ever do news conferences like this? How many news conferences, Peter, has he done like this?
Like this.
None.
Zero.
And it would be zero for the next infinity. For infinity, it would be zero. No. Elon, no. Elon's very busy sending rocket ships up to various places with lots of satellites on it.
What is the reaction to the population of Marco Rubio, or what does it mean to Latin America?
Which one?
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio. He said Marco. Marco. Yeah, he's, I think he's great. I think Marco's doing a fantastic job. I think he's going to get a lot of votes. I think he's going to be at 90% or something. I'm hearing very good. People know him. They know him in the Senate. They know he's good. He's doing a good job. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with that. He's got some very strong ideas. Marco.
Did you sign the TikTok order?
Yeah. Yes, that's
Marco Rubio said yes.
just
How many?
Still changing Venezuela, changing power. Are you still committed with Maduro leaving power in Venezuela?
Well, we're going to find out about that too, because we're going to probably stop buying oil from Venezuela. We don't need their oil.
Another embargo like the first time.
Well, could be, but we don't want to buy. We don't have to buy their oil. We have plenty of oil for ourselves. So
President Trump,
that'll change Venezuela quite a bit.
President Trump, there was a lot of concern about this during the campaign. The question that only works today, are you a dictator on cable?
No, I can't imagine even being gone. No, I believe in the sanctity of the vote. The Democrats didn't because they cheated like dogs, but I believe in the sanctity, and this was too big to rig. This last election was just too big to rig. Really the opposite. Could be Mercy. he can't be thrilled. It's not making him look very good. Well, now, eventually, you know, I mean, it's a big machine, so things will happen, but, I think he'd be very well off to end that war. We have numbers that almost 1 million Russian soldiers have been killed. About 700,000 Ukrainian soldiers are killed. Russia's bigger, they have more soldiers to lose. But that's no way to run a country.
What did you think of where you?
Just gave me the right to sell it or close it. Essentially with TikTok, I have the right to either sell it or close it. And we'll make that determination. And we may have to get an approval from China too, I'm not sure. But I'm sure they'll approve it. And if they don't approve it, there would be some of a hostile act on it. But it's good for China if it gets approved.
But you're not guaranteeing that TikTok will be around after that case today.
No, but it could very well be. It makes sense for it to be, because it's got tremendous value. But if we create the value by approving, you know, in other words, that approval gives it tremendous value. If that's the case, then we should be entitled to 50% as a country. You know, you haven't heard that one before, right? That's called a joint venture. And, nobody ever thought that way.
Maybe it worked.
Well, I think you have a lot of people that would be interested in TikTok with the United States as a partner.
Mr. President, what was it like walking into the Oval Office?
Oh, what a great feeling. One of the better feelings I've ever had.
Would you like these found better now than in 2017?
Well, we're very experienced now. You would say nobody's ever had experience like I have. I've dealt with some very good people, I've dealt with some very bad people, and I know who the bad ones are and the good ones are. You know, don't forget, I was very successful in primarily the real estate business. And people used to say, who's worse, a politician or a vicious real estate developer? And I would say, you know, the real estate developer is far worse. But after about 3 months and getting to know scum like Adam Schiff and other people like that, I said, no, actually, real estate people are quite nice by comparison.
What about President?
Yeah, but he's told me he wants to make a deal. Zelensky wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does, why not? I don't know. He should make a deal. I think he's destroying Russia by not making a deal. I think Russia's gonna be in big trouble. You take a look at their economy, you take a look at the inflation, the nation. So I would hope, I would come along with him, right, and, you know, I would hope he wants to make a deal.
Mr. President, do you think U.S. sanctions on Russia until we make a deal?
Well, sanctions or tariffs, I think the word tariff is much better, because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I use sanctions on Iran, Iran was broke. When I left office, Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, none. They were flat broke. And October 7th would have never happened. And I think you all know that. It would have never happened. They had no money. Now they're rich, but, you know, they're weakened in a different way. I would say that the one attack by Israel really set them back. It really set them back. The pages, and others. You know, the attack on air defense was a bad attack.
It's an executive order relating to reforms to the federal workforce, including to the senior executive service.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer. The cancer caused by the Biden administration.
How confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Sudan and conclude the three phases of the year?
I'm not confident. It's not our war, it's their war, but I'm not confident. But I think they're very weakened on the other side. Gaza, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place is, it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way. I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful very interesting, but some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
How do you see the future governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends, I can't imagine you can have, you certainly can't have the people that were there, most of them are dead, by the way, most of them are dead. But they didn't exactly run it well, run viciously and badly. So you can't have that. If China didn't approve it, we could put tariffs on China. Don't forget, China charges us tariffs, and we charge them very little, except for what I did. I put a lot of them in. It took in hundreds of billions of dollars. But until I came along, China never paid 10 cents to this country. They ripped us off, and they never paid anything. But like, if we wanted to make a deal with TikTok, and it was a good deal, and China wouldn't approve it, and then I think ultimately they'd approve it, because we put tariffs on China. Maybe. I'm not saying I would, but you certainly could do that. And if we said, well, if you're not going to approve it, then that's a certain hostility, and we'll put tariffs of 25, 30, 40, 50%, even 100%. And if we did that, I think they'd approve it.
President Trump, you've seen the other living presidents a couple times in the last few months. Have you ever had to call on one of them for advice on anything going on? Which one would you call?
It's interesting. Well, I thought Bill Clinton was a very good politician. I don't think he was used properly. I think they disrespected him. When Hillary was running, he came back and he said, you know, you better get up to Michigan and Wisconsin. You remember that meeting? Every house has a Trump sign on it. And they all laughed at him because the Republicans had won Michigan and Wisconsin for decades, long time. And they all laughed at Bill Clinton. Like, the hell does he know? And he turned out to be right because I won both of them. And then we just won both in this election. We won Wisconsin and Michigan and every other swing state. We won all the swing states, all 7. They talked about 7 swing states, and we won them all. But Bill Clinton he had a great political sense, I think.
Like we were having a good conversation with President Obama.
I was. And you'd like to know what it was? Everybody wants to know. And I wouldn't want that, but we were having some crazy conversation. Why do you ask me a question like that? You know, I don't think you want to know. You might not know. You might be insulted.
It's an executive order relating to holding former government officials accountable for unlawful disclosure of sensitive information. This next one, sir, is a declaration of national energy emergency.
That's a big one. You know, that allows you to, that means you can do whatever you have to do to get out of that problem. And we do have that kind of an emergency.
President Trump, at some point will you use your powers of presidency to tell Americans who are concerned about Rome?
Yeah. Oh, good. I will.
Can you tell us
In
now?
fact, I'd like to know because I just got here.
What do you think?
I just came here. I've been here for what, 15 minutes now.
Do people listening to this know out
And
loud?
I gotta read this letter too, because you I got this letter.
I can read it for you.
It's interesting. Yeah, I know you would. Your father would too.
But is it anything you don't, is anything you think
No, I think it's, I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
Can you commit to some kind
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I can't imagine it's an enemy or there would have been, you know, people would have gotten blown up all of them. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they would have said what it was. Yeah, a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting.
And when you get back today and yesterday, was everything moved inside just for cold weather, or was there some kind of security?
No security. Because they had everything shut down to drones. You know, you can shut that down pretty easily if you're sophisticated. They're very sophisticated, these people. No, it was just called, and we made a good move because, first of all, I thought it was incredible in the Capitol today. You know why I liked it? Because I got great reviews on that speech. I got great reviews. Can you believe it? They actually were fair. Maybe the fake news is changing.
Unleashing energy.
Yeah, unleashing energy production. But I thought it was, I think having it in the capital is good. Obviously, you can take care of the people you have to take care of. The city was booming. And if we would have done it outside, because it was really cold, you know, it was like, looked sunny. But when you stood outside for 10 minutes, people were running back in. It was really cold and real. Stay out more than 10 minutes, they all came back in. So we would have had a disaster if we did that, and people would have been hurt.